Okay, so before I discuss, I'm getting a lot of messages regarding whether you will be able to improve or not, something like that. Lot of self-doubt is there. Okay, so it took me some time to invade into privacy of one of my successful candidate. Okay, to show you that what you are going through, people have gone through. I mean, Megha has also come and spoken about it, but you perhaps don't believe in it. You don't believe her words. So let me show you something. I mean, that is time stamped. So you will see something. So this is my chat with Khushali. Okay, 25th June 2023. Okay, I thought I know ethics. What I was missing, I was not making any interconnection in case study. I gave only example and definition in section A. And with this I was able to score around 100. And after this, I believe that 130 plus would be easy. That's what she believed on 25th of June. Yes, exam was in September only I guess, last year, 25th of June. Then 16th July, wanted to ask doubt. I have learned how to give multiple dimensions, but I am able to only generate 5-6 example, but argument is only 1-2. So I am not able to generate argument. So should argument be written every example? Only you have to write an introduction and then give 5-6 example to justify. So basically, she is confused that she is not able to. Dimensions are there, but she is not able to write multiple arguments. So she is facing problem in that. That is 16th of July. I think roughly 20 days after that. Yes, and then I replied on 22 after a lot of time actually. Yeah, same question. Wanted to ask one doubt. Okay, let's try to give one more argument. Try to give more arguments. अगर नहीं दे पा रही हो तो परेशान मत होना. With time it will come. The same thing that I've been telling you again and again, but you don't believe me. Okay, you don't trust me. So this is exactly what I told her that. The same thing I told her, that with time multiplications will come. With time you will give more arguments. And the same question, she sent me one answer on the same thing, quality of success, the Buddha wala question. So Dalai Lama questions. The same answer she texted me, and ultimately she got 136 mark. Something that she believed in, that she hoped that it would be easy, and then she got 136 marks ultimately. So you see, I mean, this is 2 months before mains examination, and you still have, I think, so many months to write your mains examination. Yes, and all of you are improving only, and that you can also judge. So what I am telling you, that learning require effort, and you have to just be persistent in that. Many of you message me on Telegram, sir, we don't know whether you will be able to write that or not, or those many dimensions that you show. I am telling you again and again, you have to just achieve 50 to 60% of that, not the entire thing. That is what you need to understand. समझ में आ रहा है आप लोगों को? And this is what everyone goes through. This is what every individual goes through, and she has also gone through the same thing. And this is perhaps where you are at this point of time. Understood? So the point is that improvement and achieving excellency in any skill takes time. Any skill takes time. Can I share one personal anecdote, with respect to this struggle only? Can I share? We have time? Yes? Okay, so let me tell you something that, I mean, it will not put me, I don't know what kind of light it will throw at me, but at least you will know something about that. Okay, something. So, when I started teaching for the first time, in an institute that I was working, and they said that, Piyush, you can teach ethics. Although polity, governance, that was more closer to my heart, but first time, they told me that, you can teach ethics. So ethics was an accidental choice. It was not something that I decided that I will teach. It was more of an accidental choice because I was more into polity and governance and everything. And they told me that, why don't you record one demo video, and then we will see how you are doing. And I recorded one demo video, and they said that, Piyush, it is not up to mark. We cannot allow you to teach like that. And it hit me. It simply hit me because I had, see, when I decided that I will be venturing into this, I decided that I will be doing this only. Because, see, after everything, I had option of going back to private sector because I had IIT degree. Many of my friends were there, that too in senior position. And they told me that Piyush, you come here, you'll fix you somewhere, and you will have a good time after that. So don't worry. But then I said that I've invested already so much, then perhaps, and this is something that is very close to my heart and everything. And I told them that let me try this. If this does not work, then I will definitely come back to you only. So the institute said that we cannot, we cannot do this, and you are not good. And it hit me like anything. And then I remember coming back, and I think I sat around 3 p.m. On one day I took some time. I noted myself that where I'm lacking and everything, that how I can improve with respect to pedagogy and everything. I still remember that around 3 p.m. I again sat to record the demo video on Zoom. I only had laptop and Zoom in my room. I was sitting and I was recording. I recorded one 22 or 30 minutes long video, and then I watched the recording of that. Then I noted down something that I'm not doing good. I again recorded the video. Then I noted down something that I'm not doing good. Then I again recorded the video and I noted down something that I'm not doing good. I did 22 retakes of the same video. 22 retakes from 3 p.m. to the 3 a.m. in the morning on the single day. 22 retake. You do it, you even write 10 answers consecutively. Same answer 10 times you write. And when I was recording that for my own practice. So I was wearing t-shirt, the round neck t-shirt and everything. And around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. I sent that video to the institute that you please watch this now. And they liked it that much that they put that video as demo video in my t-shirt, in the round neck t-shirt. And they shot email to everyone, to every student for the prospective program, including that Zoom video. So I am telling you this, when someone told me you are not good enough, I had the, again, option or comfort that perhaps this is not something that I should do. Perhaps I can always go back because I can always flaunt my degree. I have friends who can comfort me with respect to job and everything because they are into senior position. They can always hire me and, make things happen. And why did I have to struggle into this thing? Because that is totally a new skill. Nobody teaches you how to teach. You don't learn this skill in IIT or any engineering colleges. You don't learn this skill in schools. This is a skill that you have to master it yourself. So the point is, I had that option, but then I decided, no, I have to give it an honest try. And that day, I was very proud of myself. I did not have dinner. It was continuous 22 retake, I am telling you, continuous 22 retake. And it required a lot of, no audio. Am I not audible? Am I not audible? Okay. So the point is that, see, when someone gives you very negative feedback or something like that, the very easy thing to just, either brush that person off, that he may not know anything, or we know something and he may not know something. Other point is that you took alternative path. But it is very, very difficult to tackle that challenge head on. Very, very difficult. And that day when I set to record that video for myself, I knew that I was improving, but again I was finding something. No. This I could have said better. This is how I could have presented better. This sentence could have come in this way and something like that. Every time I was improving, improvising, and finally the final video was there at 3 p.m. So 3 a.m. So that is what I'm asking you, that when you are into this zone, you have to continue to learn, and one day you will also, you will be surprised that how good you are doing while you are writing the answer. Just like, I surprised myself when I actually started teaching and the feedback was tremendous. The person who gave me the negative feedback was very pleasantly surprised that how good things have turned and everything, because it just requires careful examination of what you are doing and how you can improve pedagogy and everything. And then, it is not a rocket science in that way. You can always crack it if you just put your heart and soul to it, but it requires consistent effort. That is what I am telling you. So the story is very, very close to my heart in terms of that. If ever I have to define myself, perhaps these are some of the attributes that is how I would like to. The same virtue ethics, that this is something that I don't accept that. No, I don't accept someone's judgment just like that. No, till I give up myself, So that is very important. So same thing I expect you to do, and that is why my comments are at times harsh. That times, when I speak, I just speak through my heart. I don't sugarcoat things, because I believe that is only that will help you. That is the only thing that will help you. Nothing else will help you. And many of you are not confident. Then you will not get confidence just by speaking to me in terms of, sir, whether I will be able to make it or not. You will get that confidence by yourself only when you believe that you are writing far better answer than what you were writing 10 or 15 days before. That confidence will come from within only, and that is what you must look in for. Understood? And this is what that I will tell everyone. I will give another example. All of you know Jitu, my Jitu Bhaiya Panchayat, he, my best mate only from KGP, tremendously hardworking person, tremendously. He will be recording, re-recording, and doing so many practice or dramatics practice and everything. That's what took him to the place that he is now. In last birthday, I was in Mussoorie. So I was strolling around there, Mussoorie, and I saw that one movie was getting shot there, the Do Patti. The same movie that has come on Netflix, very bad movie, don't watch it. Okay. But the movie was, getting shot there. I was, the entire street, they were just recording one scene in which Kirti Senan is coming and, opening up that door and just somehow fumbling with the keys and everything. The same scene. It took her 2 hours to record that scene. 2 hours. I was standing there for 2 hours, I'm telling you. 2 hours. So what we look at as the final product, is actually the culmination of lot of effort that goes behind the scene. That is what I'm asking you. I went to KBC once, I was in Mumbai and I asked one student of mine that, can you just arrange one ticket for me in the film city? KBC is getting shot there, and he told me, yes sir, I can do that. And I was there as an audience only. So I looked at Amitabh Bachchan, when he was hosting that show, he was shooting 2 episodes a day. And the kind of hard work that he's doing at this age, he's coming in the morning around 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. He's recording 1 episode, and then after, I think gap is there for 1 hour, 45 minutes, and he's recording the 2nd episode. 2 episodes in a day. And when he's doing that, there is no fall in his energy. When he's doing that, when he's welcoming audience and everyone, the participant, the same energy was there. There was nothing that will say that he has already recorded 1 video and something like that. So I am telling you this, that everything requires effort, persistent effort, and you just be on that path. And just have faith in yourself. I'm telling you, many of you have improved like anything, and I'm sure with time you will improve more and more and more. That's why 2 full-length tests are also there in a gap of 1 month. The only thing that is important is that don't give up. It is, I think, the most easy thing to do, giving up. And right now you cannot give up actually. The next year prelims is there. Okay. So don't give up. You will be in that phase all the time, and then the self-doubts and everything, but you will improve. So you just need to have a bit of common sense, lot of hard work, and you will be just fine. This examination does not require brilliance, does not require a lot of intellect. This requires sheer hard work and little bit of common sense. Only common sense, not intellect. Understood? So, he charges per episode 1 crore. Even if he charges 10 crore, it is absolutely fine. He deserves all of that. He's working, supremely hard for it. Okay, so now I think this is something that all of you can take away home, that you have to be persistent in what you are doing and have faith. There is no other way, no magic pull, no magic pill, no shortcut, no kadha, nothing. This is the only way. And everyone has got there through this way only, and you will also get there. I think the first quotation is that only. Yes, so let us look at the first quotation. That every work has got to pass through, what a coincidence, the same thing. Every work has got to pass through hundreds of difficulties before succeeding. Those that persevere will see the light sooner or later. Swami Vivekananda, sooner or later. So the point is this, the same thing that we have discussed, that whatever you are doing, one thing is that it is telling you that if you want to be successful at something, then the difficulties are bound to come, and it is actually asking you to prepare beforehand, to be mentally ready to face those difficulties. And that is what it is saying, that every work has got to pass through hundreds of difficulties before succeeding, and those that persevere will see the light sooner or later. And that's what I'm also telling you, that sooner or later you will be successful. Now coming to this question again, the entire context is that before success is there are difficulties. And what does it mean to you? That if you can anticipate difficulties, then probably it is talking about preparedness, it is talking about perseverance, it's talking about making continuous effort. And the second part, those that persevere will see the light sooner or later. This has some philosophical perspective. That is, it may not be the success in terms of objective that you are pursuing, but ultimately you will be a successful person in terms of broader meaning of success. That is what this question is talking about. The aspect sooner or later means that only. It is not exactly success. When I'm telling you that you will be successful sooner or later, it may not be necessarily in the context of civil servant, but in the context of you becoming someone who is working really, really hard, and then those traits will definitely make you something. They will definitely make you something one day. So this is what that question is saying. Okay, so what we can write in terms of, the keywords we can talk about: resilience, perseverance, unwavering commitment to one's goal, and of course the takeaway is acknowledgement of challenges. It is asking that if you can prepare beforehand, you should prepare beforehand, the disaster management and everything, that how the importance of perseverance, like ISRO, Team India and World Cup, both the example, 1923 and 24 example you can quote. And also success takes time. The Rome was not built in a day. I was in Rome this summer, and when I was there, I got to realize the meaning of the statement that Rome was not built in a day, because it has been built, in so many parts. The city is too big to stroll in one day. It is such a huge city, and that is why it is said that Rome was not built in a day, because it is quite a huge city, and different parts of the city have been built in different time. So perhaps that is the meaning of this statement, that Rome was not built in a day, because you talk about scientific advancement, you talk about building of nations, all of these require continuous effort, and that is what it is saying. Then worthy success will always demand, perseverance. Something that you get easily may not be the worthy success. So that is another implication of that. Democracy, election, polio eradication, it took us some time to declare ourselves polio free. It is talking about patience also, that you should focus on your karma without getting worried. How many of you quoted karma here? Very nice. It is asking you to focus on your karma without getting worried about result, that you should do your duty, and duty aspect also you can highlight. Then sthit prajna, equanimity, the aspect of equanimity, that without fear or favor, or without too much of emotions, you have to do actually your work. The yoga karma shulu kausalam, that also you can invoke. How many of you quoted Gita here? Very nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, so, and again, it is also asking you to stick to the right means, because every work has to got to pass through hundreds of difficulties before succeeding sooner or later. It means that, it does not mean that if difficulty is there, then you will take shortcut. That is what also the implication of that if we take shortcut, then we might be delaying our success, or there may be consequence for that. So you talk about Montreal Protocol or Paris Climate Deal, or the organizations which are meandering their ways around ethical aspect, that also it will come. In terms of tortoise and rabbit race also you can write. And also the relevance you can talk about in terms of civil servant, because dedication to public service is required, because we have discussed this, that in governance, reform is not easy. There is incremental way, incremental reforms that are, you understand incremental reform, that you will not see radical reforms, you will see reforms in an incremental fashion. Bit by bit you will improve, and that is what the perspective bureaucracy should also have, that it will take some time for reforms to settle in, and they must have patience and all those things. And corporates, again, the shortcuts. Citizens, they should not give up too easily, like suicides and everything. They must sustain movement for environmental conservation, air pollution. All these are bigger problem, and they will take time. But whenever the word success and everything is there, and the aspect of sooner or later, you can always have a philosophical perspective that we discussed yesterday also. If you're talking about success, you can have a broader meaning, that it should not be interpreted as a guarantee of success, but rather to encourage you to persevere even in the face of challenge. challenges, and so that you are following the theme of yoga karma shulu kausalam and something like that. Okay. So, I mean, your argument may be different. They may not align with this, but more or less this is how our answer should flow. Okay. And this perspective, how many of you quoted this perspective? Oh, very nice. I'm proud of you. I mean, this is the same essay topic. Courage to accept and dedication to improve are two keys to success. There also you can write that aspect, that success is actually determined by too many factors, but one should have broader meaning of success in terms of when one is competing with oneself. So if you are having courage and perseverance to make those efforts, then you will be a far better person. So probably you should define success in that term rather than some external event over which you do not have any control. Something like Kant is also saying that you should take care of something that is in your hand only, not the consequences. Okay, so you talk about success, you can have this perspective again and again. Understood? And in terms of Nishkam Karma is very good. And in terms of relevance, of course, the bureaucracy, corporate governance, unethical means citizens also, you also, the aspirants also. I mean, you can give so many stories. The people who are getting the mega fifth attempt, so many people are there. So who are succeeding at the end only at times. So at times it requires persistent efforts, and not giving up. Online Wallo, understood this question? Understood, everyone? Point format you should adopt usually because it will allow you to think into multiple dimensions. Otherwise, you will be repeating the same thing again and again and again and again. Yes. If you can talk about any specific instance, definitely you can talk about. Definitely. Yes. The story of Indian freedom struggle, it is story of that only, from 1857 to 1947, it is that only. The Gandhian movement, non-cooperation, civil disobedience, Quit India movement, the continuous challenges were there. That also example. For nation, it is like that. For citizen society, it is like that. Multilateral governance, terrorism, climate change, and that is why it is relevant. So in this part, you can talk about from that perspective also. How many of you quoted these examples? Very nice, very nice. So you are on the right track only. Nice.
Relevance is coming in those examples only.
So you can mix also. I've already discussed. You can write it separately or you can mix also. Yes, definitely. You can mix also. Yes, sir. You can quote Bhag Milkha Singh also, for example. Not Bhag Milkha Singh. And anyone you can quote. I mean, so whoever has become successful. I mean, success just does not come by luck only. If you are successful for quite some time, then definitely hard work is there. Understood? Ji? See, if you are starting with a story, then it will take a lot of time. See, in 10-marker question, you don't have much time. That is what you need to understand. It is 7 minutes. It is such a less time to fill 2 pages. Ideally, I would like you to fill both the pages. As of now, you are not doing that, but with time you will do that. So if you want to fill at least 80% of that page, you cannot have a longer introduction. Unless the question is quite lengthy and the initial few statements are very important to explain everything. Until then, you should not have lengthy introduction. And if you are quoting story there, then you are actually taking some example from the body only, because you can use that story in the body. Edison, the same. So you can quote Edison in the body also. Why you have to start from the introduction? It is not essay that you have to write anecdote. That's what I'm telling you, that if you're starting with that, you are killing your body example only. You can use that in body. Scientific advancement, these are some of the examples. Building of nations, you understand this thing, building of nations? It is a, should I explain something on that? Nation building? So nation building is basically, what is nation? That all of us have this feeling of Indianness. So for example, when I was in Rome, if some Indian came to me, there was this feeling of Indianness. Even though that person was from Maharashtra or Andhra Pradesh, does not matter. You feel like that, both of you have come from the same place and there is automatic exchange of words and everything. And that is the consciousness, because nationalism actually operates at consciousness level, and when you have this collective consciousness that all of us belong to the same nation, that is what is called nationalism. Nationalism may go beyond geographical boundary, my dear student. That is what you need to understand. For example, you talk about the demand for greater Nagalism. For the Nagaland people, they might have this national state feeling that we need greater Nagalism that is there, and that part also includes some part of the Myanmar, some part of the India. So the Khalistani demand that is there. So that is the national consciousness that is there. So nationality basically operate. I'm not justifying any of them, just to make it absolutely clear. I'm just explaining the term, nationality. That nationality is actually the collective consciousness of the people. When India wins, all of us feel happy, even though we are from different regions. That is what consciousness is. So when you believe that earlier, before 1947, people did not believe that we are one Indian, that they believed that we are from Rajputana, we are Marathi, we are Gujarati. The idea that all of us belong to one nation, it took some time actually, and there were a lot of regional issues, linguistic barrier, religion barrier, all those barriers were there. So that is why nation building is a continuous process in which every section of the society feels that yes, we are taken care of this in this nation, that all of them align with the identity of them being called as Indian. It is actually a continuous process, even though at this point of time various communities, various people may not, perhaps believe that they are equal Indians, with respect to how they are treated, or with respect to they might have some ulterior motives that they don't want to be called Indian, perhaps they are aligning with some other nation. So the point is this, that nation building is a continuous process, and the linguistic barrier, regional barrier, casteism, all these barriers are there, and we have to overcome that, and it is a continuous process. The same thing, unity and diversity, Understood? So that is what national consciousness is all about, the nation building. I'm watching one TV series, it is great TV series. I've just watched 4 or 5 episodes. Recently it has come on Sony Live. I'm forgetting the name, but it is talking about freedom at midnight. It is talking about that how the transfer of power, in war circumstances, transfer of power was done by the colonial master to the India. So it is talking about that, and in that the Lord Mountbatten is saying, while he was in England, that we cannot take away the very legacy that we have created. There was no India before us. I mean, they were regional powers, but they were nothing called India. We united them, and that is why we should try to make sure that we leave them united. I mean, we cannot partition the country in too many regions and ultimately, losing our legacy. And that is a very great perspective to have, that yes, that is a positive side to the colonization, that because of that, all of us was having, collective identity, that all of us are Indians. So the national consciousness is that only. So building of this will help you in society, I hope. Okay, so that is there. Understood? So please note it. Ethical egoism, not necessary here. Ethical egoism you only bring when your individual rights are subjugated at the hand of greater good. That is the perspective. Embrace the journey of success. Yes. This is what you need to write, Reni. Yes. Safar khoobsurat hai manzil se bhi. That line will be very apt here. Done? Understood? Shall I change it? So the next question is PYQ only. Non-performance of the duty by public servant is a form of corruption. Do you agree with this view? And justify your answer. So I think I've discussed this theme before, that non-performance, corruption is basically, if you want have private gain, you are misusing the power, you are misusing the trust that people have reposed in you, and that is the corruption. So you can define by that how it betrays public trust and something like that. But you have to divide your answer into 2 factors. That is, in what circumstances and how non-performance is actually a case of corruption, and how non-performance may not be the case of corruption. Understood? So because not all the non-performance can be called as corruption. Understood? For example, if some of you unfortunately are not able to perform, then you cannot call it a case of corruption from my side, because I'm putting a lot of hard work with you. Understood? So basically that perspective that even though you want to do something good, even though things are not working, then we cannot call that always corruption only. So that perspective you can talk about. So yes, non-performance become a form of corruption when you are only pursuing self-interest. For example, not filing FIR, for vexatious reasons, leisure basically you are pursuing. Private gain is there because you don't want to be held accountable for filing the FIR. So that is another example. If you are exploiting weaker section, you are not framing the identity certificates, you are demanding bribe, then that's a case of corruption. If you are not following law in spirit, that is also a form of corruption. That is one thing to understand. Fake encounters, political patronage, then misuse of public resources, and that is sheer form of corruption, betrayal of public trust, huge opportunity cost that is there when you are not upgrading the same thing that we have discussed, when we are discussing integrity without knowledge, the same theme, that even though you are having integrity, but if you are not having knowledge, then also you are useless. Basically, then you are taking salary for doing nothing. Understood? Suppose you are a teacher and you don't know how to teach, for example, and you are withdrawing the salary from the government, then it is wealth without work. And that is a form of corruption only. So same thing. So the bureaucrats are supposed to upgrade their skills again and again and again and again. And if they are not doing that, then it is a form of corruption because they are supposed to upgrade their skills because they are mandated to work. They are mandated to discharge certain responsibilities. Understood? So finance secretary should have certain skills. Agriculture secretary should have some domain knowledge. Someone who is dealing with IPR should have some domain knowledge. He cannot say, we are journalist civil servants, sir. So, we cannot be expected to learn those things. That will be actually an excuse only. Don't you think it will be an excuse? It will excuse only. So that is why it will be a form of corruption because you are perhaps prioritizing something else rather than, building your skills and everything. So, not making efforts to upgrade your skills because there is huge cost to the public that will be there, that we have discussed already, that if suppose you become a nikamma, after becoming an SP, huge cost to the public will be there. If you are not upgrading your skills and you are having high positions, then huge cost will be there. And that is why it is a form of corruption. The important keywords that you could have used is trusteeship, dedication, public service, the philosopher king, Plato king, because the Plato king is the man of wisdom, is the man of knowledge and character, and that is what you are required to have. Plato king, you could have quoted that person, and also intentions that you should have intention to serve public, moral respect. You should follow the moral law for the respect of you. You should do your duty. Trusteeship, because people have reposed their trust in you. So these are the important keywords that you can build here, or you can write separately also, that important lessons or something like that. But then not all non-performance can amount to corruption because at times there is lack of budget. Even though you are district magistrate and you want to do a lot for the public in terms of health and education, but you can only achieve so much because there is a constraint of resources that is there. So funds are not there. At times circumstances are like that only. Our GDP, it took nosedive after COVID. So because circumstances are like that only, so there's nothing, non-performance in that case will not be called corruption because there may be something that may be beyond your control. Understood? Then bona fide mistakes, at times you commit bona fide mistakes. And this is a very important theme. We will discuss that in case study where UPSC has also asked question that if you are committing bona fide mistakes means something that you are doing without, non-intentional mistakes basically. And so bona fide mistakes if you are doing, then it is not a form of corruption. It is simply a mistake because it is a human error only. Understood? So in all such cases, it is like that only, that in all such cases, if non-performance is there, then it will not be called corruption. Understood? This will come 30%, 30 to 35%. This is mostly the important dimension, and these keywords are important. You can quote other keywords also, other quotations also, but more or less that is how you need to write. How many of you written on these lines only, more or less? Very nice. Way forward you can write, definitely you can write. Way forward, sensitivity training, all those training exercises, leadership, whatever you want to write, you can write that, definitely you can write that. FitGen participation to monitor performance, 360-degree performance appraisal, what performance is there to ensure better performance management, that is what you can write in conclusion. Definitely you can write that in conclusion. Very nice.
So the effect like erosion of public trust and credibility.
Yes. Non-performance, if it is outside of the factor, it is because of the factor that you cannot control, then it will not be called corruption. Duty-based ethics, definitely. Duty-based ethics, definitely. Ji?
Sir, for
Bona fide mistakes, example, doctors, they prescribe remdesivir, they prescribe plasma therapy. Later on, both the things proved out to be futile. They were not adding any therapeutic benefit, but a bona fide mistake because they decided on the basis of information that was available to them. So it was a bona fide mistake only.
sir, if we take example of female dropout in higher education, it is although it is not direct responsibility of government to
It is definitely that responsibility of government.
sir, because if parents are unwilling, like
Parents also have a role to play. I mean, it depends why girls are dropping out. Are they dropping out because the school is 50 kilometers away? It depends upon so many factors. Or are they dropping out even if the school is very nearby, but the parents are not sending? So it is a very generic example that is there. So, but what you can do is you can also give example where people are not participating in implementation of law. For example, dowry and everything. Then only we cannot always only blame the government. Of course, government will share the blame because they are not enforcing the law. But there is other. But you write better example. This is not that great an example actually.
Taking that example towards the right to education, is it supposed to be that no one is allowed to stop you from getting an education, or is it supposed to be that the government has an obligation to?
Government has, that is what right is all about. Right means what? Entitlement. You are entitled.
But that would create coercion on the parents, for example.
Fundamental duty is there. Parents. Fundamental duty is there. You read that.
sir, the effect and how one is non-performing.
Yes. Because length of a counter argument. I mean, do you agree? I mean, there is a directly downside to it. That not all. I mean, if you write yes, all non-performance of the duty is corruption only, then it is myopic view, and you are not realizing the complexity of the challenges that might be there in the governance. Where even though you are having best of the intentions, but you are not able to do it because funds are not there, circumstances are beyond your control, bona fide mistakes are there. So that is what you need to write. How many of you did not quote this dimension at all? Did not quote. Why? What is your name? I forgot your name. Ishika. Why? I mean, don't you think it's logical only should come to you? Because we have discussed that. The same thing we have discussed. The non-performance may be because of factors that are beyond our control. The way forward is, I mean, that is not exactly substitute for this again. Way forward is necessary, but that is not substitute for this. Non-performance is not corruption if conscience is acting as ethical guidance. If your conscience is subjective, why are you going there? I mean, even if your conscience is good, everything, still it may lead to non-performance because funds are not there. And for that matter, you are transferred so many times in your career. What good you can achieve, for example? Because that is something that is beyond your control. Understood? So that is what you can write. Can you move to the next question? Have you noted?
Can we also write the effect like it erodes credibility, or we have to write how it is non-performance of duty?
You can write that in conclusion. Or, I mean, see, credibility in everything is what? Importance or relevance of non-performance in good governance context. If you are not performing, then you are betraying public trust and everything. But the question is something else. Question is whether non-performance is a form of corruption or not. Please note it. That is okay. I mean, you will learn with previous question. अरे यार, तुम लोग कहाँ रहते हो? कहाँ कट जाता है? तुम खो जाते हो भाई? क्या बोल रहे हो? इसकी बाकी लोगों ने भी नहीं. Okay, you take this first. Even the best of the people struggle. Talk about Virat Kohli, he has been legend in the field and see how he has been struggling, but he is fighting. And God willing, he will, KL Rahul, what kind of batting he has done today, So you have to just stand there and keep fighting. That is how life is. life, you should not look at some magic wand that one day things will improve dramatically. It will always be work in progress. That is the attitude that you should have. Understood? Intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, Herzberg two-factor theory. Way forward, perhaps you can write. In way forward, you can write. So the next question is, effective utilization of public fund is crucial to meet developmental goals. Critically examine the reasons for underutilization and misutilization of public funds and their implications. So fairly easy question. Yes, I'm sure you would have written the arguments for misutilization, and you should have given some examples also, some facts also, something like that. So here we have given we have already discussed inadequate planning and monitoring, rush of expenditure, everything. Yes, so this is something, the argument or case study you can note with respect to this CAG findings, that the CAG report found that nearly rupees 4 lakh crore were unspent balance in 2020. In some department were 40% of the sanctioned amount. So that is the fact that you can quote in paper 3 also, in paper 2 also, that how unspent amount can be part of something. The CAG report only, unused money float. And also, you can of course take a photo and then note. And then poor accounting measures, because usually what happens, as soon as you transfer the money from, for example, center to states or states to the implementation agency, the transferring agency will book the expenditure as if it has been done, irrespective of the final utilization. And that is how your funds are underutilized. Understood or not? Suppose I am the center and I am transferring some funds to you, you are the state. And even if you have not utilized the entire fund, I will be marked as that the expenditure has been done. So that exactly is not a proper accounting method. I need to mark that fund as used when it has been actually spent. Understood? Understood or not? So that is inefficient utilization of the public resources. And then red tapeism, that is there, case studies there on the next page that we will discuss. Another important arguments are perception bias, because see, all of us want to have capital expenditure, something like that, so that we should be able to create more and more assets, more and more infrastructure. But when it comes to their service, when it comes to their maintenance, that will be part of revenue budget, and then we think we should curb our revenue budget, because we want to sound like that we have to maximize our capital expenditure or capital budgeting. And that is a perception bias that is there, because every infrastructure that you have created will require maintenance, and that is why that should be adequately accounted for. And that is the perception bias that actually leads to the underutilization of resources. And that is why you see that the infrastructure, government infrastructure that is there, but you are not able to use that because it is in a good condition, because it is not properly repaired. Ceiling, ceiling is not in proper condition, and you just fear for your life when you are sitting under it. So basically the infrastructure is not getting properly utilized because it has not been serviced qualitatively, because the funds for servicing were not available because of the perception bias. So this is the usual, very specific point that is there, that because of this perception bias, we are actually prioritizing capital expenditure over revenue expenditure, and because of that, the quality or the usability of the infrastructure is getting limited, leading to misutilization of the resources. Because since you are not servicing it properly, you will not be able to utilize the fund that you have already invested on that. Understood or not? Just like you have purchased a car, but you are not servicing it properly, so your car, you will not be able to derive the kind of mileage and how it functions. There will be misutilization of the resources only. Okay, the same argument, perception bias that is there. Poor design, basically fragmentation of the CSS that is there, because of that lot many overlap, etc. is there. Then capacity constraints are there in terms of budgetary, technological constraint, that when you are making that decision, you do not have full information, and all these things that you can write. So basically all of it will lead to the underutilization of the resources. And these are some very good case studies, and this you must remember all the time in your head. Now from this moment onwards, as and when you write red tapeism, this is what you need to write. That a study of the NHM found that a file had to pass through 22 desks, and there were on an average close to 900 sanctions that were required for 17-18 alone. Okay, so basically this particular case study must come hand in hand whenever you are writing red tapeism. You need not write in that detail, simply write a file had to pass through 22 levels when it comes to NHM, a study by Accountability Initiative has found. That is what you need to write. Basically, this is a far more specific example, and you need to link this example with the red tapeism. From this moment onwards, I'm repeating it again. Whenever you are writing red tapeism, you must mention this example. Both these things should come together. I will not hear the excuse, sir, yaad nahi raha, because that is what you need to inculcate. You need to tell your brain that whenever you write red tapeism, this case study will come along with that. Understood? And this is a case study for how there is a delay in disbursement of funds and how because of that people are not able to plan. This Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin, despite house being constructed, everything till this 1400 crores were due to be paid in installments. So basically lot of pendencies there, and because of that the institutions are not able to plan that how they will be spending the money, what is the money that they can expect from the government, and because of that it lead to the misutilization of the resources when they actually get the funds, because they cannot perhaps plan when they will get the funds. Understood or not? Yes. And then the misutilization, the simple corruption, political interference, inefficiency, that is there, cost overruns because of delay and everything, and supplementary demands of grant, that is there. Often you need more and more funds without actually justifying properly that why do you need those funds. And then there are systemic issues that hurt the utilization of the resources, systemic issues that properly hurt the utilization of budgetary resources, and basically it is lack of monitoring and accountability for the executive. So limited CAG audit, in a way will always encourage it will always encourage fiscal inefficiency, because you are not holding the government accountable. You understand this term, lack of CAG audit, coverage, because not all the paragraphs are examined by the Public Account Committee. Lack of parliamentary control, because many times we see most of the demand of the grant are guillotined only at the end of the budget. So because of that also. Then ineffectiveness of internal audit, because departments, they don't actually do it, internal audit. And medium-term fiscal policy and medium-term expenditure framework, they are not adhered to. Government meanders around the fiscal planning, and that actually lead to so much of inefficiency. Outcome budgeting has not been actually properly followed, even though it was introduced by the government. They have become routine, and they are not being reviewed periodically by the administrative departments, and ultimately there is no sunset period for the government schemes, and that is why the expenditure is committed, even though the government department is not justifying that why they need to include that expenditure. Understood? So sunset clause is another very important reason. So these are some common reasons that you can write with respect to fiscal efficiency, and these are some specific case studies. For now, whatever we have discussed earlier and this content, I think now you have a very holistic content with respect to utilization of public fund. Understood? And all these case studies, all of you must quote whenever you are writing answer. Everything understood so far? Please note it.
Zero-based budgeting is started already?
Zero-based budgeting has been started, again not properly followed. Yes, it is there. Outcome budgeting is also there, gender budgeting is also there, everything is there, but there are limitations with respect to each of that. So outcome budgeting you can always write, because outcome budgeting is always about fiscal efficiency, fiscal effectiveness actually, that you are getting the outcome for which you are spending. Understood? So you should always quote that, how it has become routine. Implications you have to write, definitely. So part of the question only. Yes. But no, it will come. It will come. See, implications, I think I can assume that you will write, but I need to discuss something in more detail so that now you have more number of points to write. That we have already discussed. Some part I will overemphasize to convey that point. But in actual examination, the implications is actually being asked. So 30 to 35% will be dedicated to that only. 30%. Best, yes. And then way forward also you can write, definitely. But I'm just talking about so as to cover everything comprehensively and give you important case study. That is why I have included so many dimensions. Understood? Why? That can be part of your conclusion, Udit? Or introduction only, because the line is that only to meet developmental. In a developing country, the public funds are scarce, and that is why effective utilization is very, very important. From there also you can start. Sunset point is that policies, the policies are there, even though they may not be needed. They are not evaluated again and again, and they are being continued because they are not discontinued. There is no rationale for them. That is what sunset. Even the scheme that was launched 30 years back, 40 years back, you are continuing that. You are justifying some expenditure for that. So that is a sunset point. There has to be some sunset point. Just like there has to be some sunset point with respect to your attempt, some sunset point should be there. So, Shubhangi, I have discussed, I think, one case study with respect to non-disbursement of funds in the case of Anganwadis. I discussed something about that when I was teaching you that, National Public Fund, that when Anganwadis, they are not getting funds on time, then they will not be able to plan things. Suppose you don't know how much money your parents will send you next month, or you don't know the frequency of that, then will you be ever be able to plan that which course to join, which course not to join, because you don't know how much funds you will be getting. So there will be underutilization of resources when you get the funds because you have not already planned for it. Source organization, quoting data, if you can remember that, it is fine, you should write that. If not, then also you should write. You should at least write data. Done? Jharkhand project also you can write that, whatever the bridge collapse that was, bridge that was there. Oh, sorry. Now red tapeism should come with this case study, Budget maximizer. Yes, you can write that, budget maximizers. You can write. Whatever we have discussed in the theory part, you can use that also. There's great overlap that is already there. Yes. मैं समझ गया सर, हटा रहा हूँ, पहले ही हटा रहा हूँ. Neither Mohsin nor Shreya is coming. What has happened to you? क्या हो गया? नाराज हो गए क्या लोग? श्रेया लौट आओ. केस स्टडी क्लास शुरू होने वाली है. नया टॉपिक है 120 नंबर का. कोई तुमसे कुछ नहीं कहेगा. Done? This is easy, I think. This you would have answered, I can hope so. No? Why? We already discussed that question, some part of it. Fairly easy question. It is often said that poverty leads to corruption. However, there is no dearth of instances when wealthy people are indulged in corruption. So, what are the basic causes of corruption among people? Support your answer with example. Poverty leads to corruption because let's say when you are poor, you do not have much choice. You are fighting your survival, and that is why you don't take care of the means. That is it. So, if you want to get PDS ration and if you want to get your caste certificate done, then you will offer bribe because that is what you will say, that otherwise you will not survive if you don't pay bribe. And that is what most of the people who are getting entitlement from the government, in whatever subsidy they are getting, whatever money they are getting, usually there is a cut that is there by the officials and they participate in that. The roadside thela wala, all those people who are operating there, don't you think they are paying hafta on a timely basis? They are doing that because they are not abiding by all the laws. So poverty, and they will justify that in the name of that only, that if we don't do it, then where will we go? Understood? So the poverty lead to corruption, that argument. The question is not about that. The question is basic cause of corruption among people. So basically it is going beyond that. You are talking about character, attitude, talking about that. Poverty of character, you can write. Not required that you break down poverty further. The bigger question is this. Ultimately, what are the basic causes of corruption? That is what it is. That if both rich and poor people are indulging corruption, then basically there has to be some more determinant of that. Understood? That is what it is saying. Sanskritization of corruption. Yes. How poverty affected the society and then corruption being part of its consequences. See, if you are going to that, then you are writing a very lengthy introduction, Shubham. 10 marker question, you have to be very specific when you are writing all these things.
Can you split into poverty, leads to corruption and
Not much. Yes. 10-15% start, 20% at max. At half poverty leading to corruption, and then, I mean, rich people also do corruption. I mean, this part will not take lot of space because the question is on this basic cause of corruption and perhaps the suggestions and solutions. Because yes,
So these questions जो है poverty and affluent corruption
हाँ,
फिर उसके बाद basic cause फिर solution
सॉल्यूशन आएंगे यहाँ पे क्योंकि कॉजेज पे बात कर रहे हैं. सॉल्यूशन पढ़ाई नहीं है आपको मैंने, तो इसलिए मैं ज़्यादा उम्मीद नहीं कर रहा. तो लिख दो जो भी अब तक. इंटीग्रिटी का आंसर लिख देना अभी तक. हाउ वी कैन इनकलकेट इंटीग्रिटी. यस, इंटीग्रिटी, रोल ऑफ फैमिली, सोसाइटी. वही तो लिखना है और क्या लिखना है. यस, वही लिखना है कि बेसिक कॉज ऑफ करप्शन क्या है. यही है कि आपकी मोरालिटी शेप नहीं हुई है, सोसाइटी डिमांड करती है, फैमिली वाले करे हुए हैं, बीवी मांग रही है नया घर. यही सब लिखना है. नॉट एग्जैक्टली दिस, नॉट एग्जैक्टली दिस एग्जाम्पल, है ना. भैया ये तो पीछे मत बैठा करो, यहाँ भी जगह है यार, वहाँ आवाज नहीं आती है मुझे. हाँ हाँ लिखेंगे लिखेंगे लिखेंगे. In terms of normalization of corruption, in terms of normalization of corruption, that is what you can write, that both rich and poor are not fearing law, because both of them are not fearing law, and that is why they are indulging in corruption. That is one of the basic cause of corruption, because you don't fear deterrence, you don't fear accountability. Just understood? हाँ तो आप लिखोगे ना विद एग्जांपल्स, तो क्या दिक्कत है. करप्शन के एग्जांपल नहीं है आपके पास, तो यही लिख दो ना. ये भाई करप्शन को आप केवल ऐसे ही क्यों लिख रहे हो कि करप्शन यही है. आप जो डाउरी में इंडल्ज हो रहे हैं, जो गलत काम कर रहे हैं, वो सीधा सीधा करप्शन है. प्राइवेट गेन, अपने उनको मॉरल्स को सेक्रीफाइस करना, दैट इज ऑल्सो यू डिफाइन करप्शन इन बिगर वे. जब आप आंसर स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, स्टार्टिंग योर आंसर, अभी भी आप वहीं पे रह गए. वो यहाँ कैसे आ गया. उसका रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है यहाँ, वो अलग है, वो फॉर्म के ऊपर है कि द डिफरेंट फॉर्म ऑफ करप्शन इज देयर. दिस इज अबाउट कॉजेज ऑफ करप्शन. यू नो, बेसिकली योर, suppose you are a nikamma, you know, then your nikamma may have different forms, that you are not writing answer, you are not studying, but there will be different causes of nikammapan. It is talking about causes of nikammapan, not form of. Up to you. Lack of sense of duty. अरे कितनी बार भाई वही सब लिखना है. lack of morality, lack of character, you know, family, degradation of values, judicial factor, वही सब लिखना है यार. वो डाउट है क्या इस क्वेश्चन में. जहां पे आप ओके इन द क्वेश्चंस वेयर यू आर एक्चुअली हैविंग मोर क्रिटिकल पर्सपेक्टिव, क्रिटिसाइजिंग समथिंग, राइटिंग समथिंग दैट रिक्वायर सॉल्यूशन, बिकॉज यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट कॉजेज ऑफ समथिंग, देयर यू शुड गिव सॉल्यूशन. There also you can give solution. Definitely you can talk about reforms. Yes, you can talk about reforms in that question also. If the question is asked for that very specifically, you can enhance the proportion of it. It will depend upon the question also. If so many parts are there in the question already which has been asked very specifically, then automatically this suggestion, if it has not been asked, will take lesser space. It will be part of conclusion only. But if it is part of the question only, then you will give more space. It depends upon the question. But if you are talking about negativity or something like that, always give solution. It's part of conclusion only. Sir, what is nikamma? Array, it's another example, leave it. I mean, वो तो उतना अच्छा नहीं है. एटलीस्ट इंट्रोडक्शन में यू शुड एड्रेस दैट बोथ रिच एंड पुअर आर इंडल्जिंग इन करप्शन, हाईलाइटिंग देयर इज समथिंग मोर देन इकोनॉमिक एस्पेक्ट दैट डिटरमाइन द करप्शन. दैट कैन बी योर स्टार्ट. इफ यू आर नॉट एक्सप्लेनिंग दैट टू मच, दैट कैन बी योर स्टार्ट. हाँ तो इंट्रोडक्शन बिकॉज कॉजेज भी लिखेंगे, उसके बाद सॉल्यूशन भी लिखेंगे. कहाँ है स्पेस? यू ओनली टेल मी. डन. in doing a good thing, everything is permitted, which is not prohibited expressly or by clear implication. Examine the statement, blah. So basically it is asking you that if you want to do something good, you can actually do lot of good, except when you are expressly prohibited. So the context of this question is that many of the bureaucrats will say that we are constrained by rules and regulation, that we will not be able to do something because there are so many rules and regulations that apply to us, and because if we do this, that this will be violated, if we do this, this will be violated, something like that. So to them it is saying that if you want to do something good, then rules and regulation actually exist to assist you in terms of doing good, and that is why they give you a lot of discretion. That is why lot of discretionary powers are there and everything, and because there is limitation for laws also, and that is why, and that is the context of this question. Understood? So that is why you should write that the law has a limitation, and in terms of ethical guidance and everything, and in terms of how it can determine your conduct, and that is why lot of discretion will be there. And the same question now will come: positive rules and regulations, how people are using that, and negative rules and regulation, how they are using that. So positive rules, maximizing public interest, flexibility, all of these are there because discretion is always there when you are talking about rules and regulation. Just rewrite that question in this context, and the mota it will have same answer, and then because unprecedented situations will always be there, and there you will be going beyond rules and regulation because the situations are unprecedented. You do not have any precedent to fall back up into, and innovation restricting will require you to go beyond literal meaning of the rules and regulation and talking about spirit of the laws and regulations. And however, this is second part that you need to write. It should not lead to that you are not ensuring rule of law and you are doing something that is plainly illegal or slippery slope. That is what you can write, because it is telling you very explicitly something that is expressly prohibited or by clear implication. So it is asking you that you must keep this in mind when you are actually doing something, that you are not clearly violating law. That is what it is telling you. And it is telling you that after that also you have lot of scope to do many good things. And how many of you quoted the example of Aruna Sundarajan? That is very, very specific example here. So it's very good example here because, she wanted to test new candidate, and that is why she devised that strategy and everything. So she wanted to achieve something good, and that is how she innovated. Same crowdfunding example also you can give from the perspective of that. So all the example of dedication to public service, they quoted here because they were going beyond. TN session example also, you can give that example only, that how, the article has not been amended. No, it has not been amended in a way to give more and more power to the election commission. And that is why, it was more about having a broader interpretation of the same thing as per constitutional morality in terms of whenever one wants to achieve more and more and more. Understood? So that is what you need to write here. So this question is from that perspective, that how laws and regulation are actually not constraining factor if you actually want to do good. Basically, again, it is talking about positive mindset only, that they are not actually restricting you in terms of doing good. Understood? Any doubt? Conscience will always be part of this, definitely. Conscience will be part of this. Loopholes of the law, not from the negative sense. It is actually, question is very positive, in a way that if you want to do something good, and everything is permitted. That is what it is saying, that you must not have this constraining factor of laws and regulation, that we will not be able to do this, because so many rules and regulations are there. A bureaucrat who is dedicated to public service, who is having constitutional morality at his heart, he will find ways to actually go beyond them and find solutions. That is what it is saying. And the counter perspective is that we should not do something that is plainly illegal or that is against, that is clear implication, that is expressly prohibited by the law. And that is what you need to write here. This part must be written, that we should not create slippery slope and something like that. How many of you wrote this part? Very nice. Baki log kyun nahi likhe? Clearly written here. Clearly written. It will not take perhaps 2 point or 3 point only, not more than that. Means and end are only, means and end you can definitely write, but It is asking you that your means are not limited. It is not the debate between means and end. It is telling you that if your end is good, then your means are not limited. Don't constrain yourself by the literal sense of law in terms of means. You have lot of options available. That is what it is telling you. Means and end from that perspective, that if your end is good, if your mindset is good, then you can always find more means. That is why everything is permitted. This is about means only. Everything permitted what? Means only in doing a good thing. That is an end. But in the context of rules and regulation, you have to write. भाई आप और नैरो करते हुए चले जा रहे हो. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट लॉज आर नॉट रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग फैक्टर्स व्हेन यू आर टेकिंग ए डिसीजन. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ द स्टेटमेंट. कौन सा पार्ट इसमें समझ में नहीं आ रहा आपको? आई मीन यू आर ए डीएम एंड यू आर नॉट टेकिंग डिसीजन बिकॉज यू आर फियरिंग एवरीथिंग. That law will bite me, that law will bite me, that law is telling me I should not do this, code of conduct is telling me I should not do this, then what will I do? I will not be able to do anything. So that is what it is telling you, that if you truly want to do something good, then I mean the discussion will always be there and you have to be positively minded, something like that. That is what it is telling you. हाँ मतलब इसमें क्या डाउट क्या है? यही तो है. कैन भी क्या है, होता ही है. मैं यहाँ पे रूल बना दूं, क्या नाम है आप भूल गए, डॉक्टर साहब ही बोल देते हैं कि डॉक्टर साहब को तो लाल ही कपड़े पहन के आने हैं. ठीक है, लाल मतलब लाल. ठीक है, तो आपको डिस्कशन नहीं है आपके पास, तो आपको लाल ही कपड़े पहनने हैं. समझ में आ गया? तो अब मैंने बना दिया लॉ बहुत स्पेसिफिक. तो आप ज़्यादा कुछ मेंडर नहीं कर सकते. आप लाल के कलर में खेल लोगे ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इधर एंड उधर, बट पहनना आपको लाल ही है. बात होगी खत्म. ठीक है, बट लॉ ऐसे नहीं होते हैं. ठीक है, लॉ विल टेल यू दैट यू विल ड्रेस अप्रोप्रिएटली फॉर द ओकेजन. दैट इज व्हाट दे विल टेल यू. सो यू हैव लॉट ऑफ फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी. अब आप कह नहीं सकते अप्रोप्रिएटली बोला है, मैं क्या पहनूं. अब आप ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते. वो ये कह रहा है कि अगर आपको एम अच्छा है कि आपको यहाँ पे रणवीर सिंह नहीं बनना है, सिंह ही है ना वो, रणवीर सिंह नहीं बनना है यहाँ पे आके, तो आप ढंग का ही कपड़ा पहन के आओगे. वो ये कह रहा है आपसे. हाँ, तो बस यही लिखना है और क्या है. फिर मेरे मुंह से सुनना है आपको जबरदस्त. सेम चीज, सेम थिंग ओनली. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड दैट. जितने दे सको भाई, इसमें तो कोई लिमिट ही नहीं है. 2 पेज भरने हैं. That's a very good example.
What is the context? How much context do we have to give in that?
To explain it sufficiently. I mean, sufficiently that I have to see your answer, how you have written. How will I know how much context? But that line, you should not write that example thinking that everyone knows that example. That much context should be added. Done? This was fairly easy question. We have discussed this theme of law and ethics from God knows how many perspectives and how many times I have discussed that. And if you are still finding it tough, I don't know what more can I do. Because this positive negative mind officers also, that question we did. Substance form question also we did. While teaching also in theory classes, I was also referring to this thing again and again. And still if you are finding it tough, then I don't know. I mean, probably you are not revising it enough. You are leaving too many things to me. You know, you should take something on yourself also. Please note it. Same argument have been written. Same argument in the previous slides. Innovation, risk-taking, lots of discretion, because laws and code of conduct have limitation, because code of conduct is also rules only. Understood? So that is why. Same thing we have discussed. Done? Discuss the role of technology in improving the implementation and effectiveness of Citizen Charter. This is fairly an easy question. I mean, you need to just give positive examples each time that how it is enhancing the effectiveness of the Citizen Charter. So the argument you have to write that how exactly it is improving the citizen charter, for example, by improving the accessibility and awareness. This question is an example of descriptive question. You need not elaborate too much on it. Here, the quality of answer will be judged by more number of dimension and the quality of examples that you are writing. Quality and quantity of the examples that you are writing. More examples you write, more argument you write, more marks you will get, because there is nothing that has to be explained here. Okay, this is mostly a descriptive question. So probably you need not explain on this argument also. Improving accessibility and awareness. For example, Seva Sindhu portal in Karnataka providing more than 700 services online. Only these 3 lines you have to write for this point. Although I have given you broader because you need to read it after some time also. But in actual exam condition, improving accessibility and awareness. For example, Seva Sindhu portal in Karnataka providing 716 services online. Only that much, no need to explain here and there. Just write that line and move to the next point. Streamlining process and reducing delays, for example, passport seva services. Transparency, improving transparency and accountability, for example, CP grams, we have discussed that. Data analytics and performance evaluation, for example, this. So that is what you need to write, to ensure empowerment and all these things. Digital campaigns, for example, Government of India example are there. So just write the keywords, an example, an example, an example. And just write more and more number of keywords and more number of example, and you will get marks. Need not explain these. You must explain the question that required explanation. This is purely descriptive question. Focus should be on more and more example. This is a citizen charter for passport services that is there. So grievance redressal has been provided, feedback, it is online only, and everything, the procedure, fees, everything it has been given. So that is how the passport seva is online seva. Lot of the steps are online only, and that is how it has enhanced the citizen charter. Understood? And then, you can perhaps talk about the limitation with respect to the technology, that how it cannot actually improve also because of digital divide and digital skills of citizens are not there. They don't know how to use the internet, and then cyber security measures, data privacy, training and capacity. This point I think all of you should remember now. Training and capacity building of the bureaucracy, because of that they are not able to utilize technology, and legal backing of citizen charter is not there. Then that is why it does not matter whether you have technology or not. And demand side of citizens are not active, they are not aware. So these are the challenges that are there. Because of that, the potential is not realized. That is what you will write in this case. Understood? And these are the examples that you can write in terms of e-Samadhan portal, Beti Bachao Beti Padhao campaign that was there, how the route of information dissemination was utilized by government to actually make citizens aware about the various program benefits of this particular thing. Understood? So discuss the role of technology, because it is talking about that how technology can enhance the effectiveness of citizen charter, and then the challenges, and then the way forward or conclusion that you can write. Understood? So fairly easy question. This part will always be part of answer in this question, because very obvious. Problems से start कर सकते हैं. Yes, you can define citizen charter, and probably in that hub and spoke diagram you can talk about this problem. You dump the problem and then start by answer. Yes, you can do that. नेगेटिव रोल नहीं होगा, लिमिटेशंस होगा. टेक्नोलॉजी से सिटीजन चार्टर कैसे खराब हो जाएगा ये थोड़ा ना लिखना है. ये लिखना है कि लिमिटेशंस क्या हैं, चैलेंजेस क्या हैं, रादर चैलेंजेस क्या हैं. चैलेंजेस विल बी द गुड डायमेंशन. That what are the challenges from the administrative perspective, that why we are not able to use technology that much. So challenges perhaps will be the better dimension. लिखा आपने? Problems नहीं लिखी. Nice. Problems from the perspective of technology and perhaps one or two arguments from the capacity building and everything. Legal backing of citizen charter, those arguments will also come, but mostly should be from the perspective of technology, that how use of technology may not be effective. 20-25%, yes, not more than that. Which part is not clear, Sareen? Which part is not clear? Table? Which table? Passport services, इसमें समझना क्या है? What are the services rendered? It has been listed online. what is the fees, what is the procedure, what are the timelines. That is what Citizen Charter is all about. It is telling you, it is empowering you in terms of what you can expect, how much time it will take to do this, and what is grievance redressal. So these are the definition of Citizen Charter. It is everything is done online. So that is how technology is helping you to streamline everything online. So I don't know. A UPI is an example of that, not Citizen Charter, but UPI is a great example. But not in terms of Citizen Charter, but for paying of fees and something you can write. You can write that. Challenges will mostly be from the perspective of technological aspect and then some aspect of the Citizen Charter itself. But it should not be the usual challenges of Citizen Charter like uniformity and something, all those things, lack of participation of citizen. Because of course, that is part of the answer, but since we have only 20-25% space only, we should focus more on the technological challenges and some of the, major challenges of Citizen Charter. Legal backing is not there, administration of bureaucracy is required and everything. Okay, so that is how we should mix. Done? So the next question is, civil society organizations play a vital role in enhancing the quality of service delivery. Okay, so see, how do I address, I will discuss the question that I have left. ऐसा look मत दिया करो मुझे, देख रहे हो आप लोग? So CSO plays vital role in enhancing the quality of service delivery. So how should I approach this question? So, क्या हो गया? Okay, so how should I approach this question? I can approach with respect to the challenges that are there in quality of service delivery and how CSOs are helping that, or simply how different attributes of qualitative service delivery are being enhanced by the CSOs, civil society organizations. Okay, the important point is I need to give examples of CSOs in each of these dimensions as far as possible. That is the only thing. So either you can go about it, for example, capacity building was a challenge. Yes, in terms of that we discussed in the quality of service delivery PPT. Here I was writing what? Challenges of quality of service delivery. If you have gone through that 3 days before, yes, here only I was writing that. Here parameters were there. So I'm talking about this, that how CSOs can actually help in terms of facilitating the quality of service delivery. So one of the problem was infrastructure, resource crunch that is there, attitudinal, bureaucratic capacity building is there. So, okay, so I can help by that also, that how CSOs can partner with government in terms of provision of services. You talk about midday meal. This Akshay Patra is actually partnering with the government in terms of providing midday meal in the remote region. So because government is lacking personnel to work on, then in terms of quality, to ensure quality of service delivery, you need accountability of the administration also. Then how they are participating in monitoring and accountability mechanism through social audit mechanism, something like that. So that is how we will be, then advocating and lobbying for the structural changes in the service delivery. That is another argument. For example, ASAR report that is there. NGO Pratham, ASAR report that is talking about learning poverty and everything. Basically, it is forcing government to think about qualitative aspect with respect to service delivery in terms of primary education. Then monitoring and evaluation, social audit of Manrega and everything. Capacity building, this great case studies there, that how PHPR trains healthcare workers in rural areas regarding various health issues. So that is great case study that is there in terms of capacity building. Then to ensure accessibility of the government program, so working as partner, for example, midday meal, Akshay Patra, working as nodal point also. Nodal point means that government wants to partner with so many self-help group, but government may not have capacity to actually go and reach so many people, and that is why the term is there, self-help group promoter institutions, SHGPIs, and NGOs are usually SHGPIs. One particular NGO, it will be dealing with so many SHGs, and this NGO will facilitate their interaction with the government. Understood? So basically, it is acting as a leader of those SHGs. So that is how it is helping the government, because government is able to get in contact with so many SHGs because of this SHGPI that is that is NGO in this case. Ensuring community engagement and empowerment. You talk about MKSS, how it has empowered rural communities in Rajasthan to demand transparency. Goonj is another very good example. The innovation and piloting, how different service delivery models are propounded. One important question that is there in your paper 2 of governance is that how NGOs can provide alternative service delivery model, something that goes beyond red tapeism, something that goes beyond too much of accountability mechanism, because the basic idea about NGO is autonomy and voluntary formation and everything. So they can provide an alternative structure in terms of service delivery, and perhaps that is something the government can also model. So Seva is another great example of that, at how it piloted that project in Gujarat, I think. Yes, so that example also you can give. So innovation piloting, that is something perhaps they can also help you. And again, question is discussed and it is asking you to play a very positive role, something you can talk about. Challenges also, that how CSOs are facing so many challenges, like funding restraints are there, capacity limitations of part of NGOs are also there, regulatory hurdles are there. This will not take again more than 20%, but you can talk about that, because of these reasons NGOs are not able to play very great role. Their potential is throttled by that you can always mention. Understood or not? And this is something that you can write. That's how NGOs can help identifying local needs, and that is something that government may not be able to do that, because it is not in contact with the citizens at times directly. Then tailoring interventions, innovation will come into the place. Advocacy at times, that we have discussed, MKSS, service delivery, partnering directly, then user-centric approaches, empowerment of citizen, etc. Understood? So that is what you can write. This part will not take more than 20%. Understood? So just mention case studies. They are very important when you are writing such answers. Important case study of CSOs. You can use these case study in your paper 2 governance answer also. Okay, just enhance the use value of information. Okay, that you should be able to use them in your GS paper 2. And similarly, the citizen charter example that we also discussed. That question is pending now for I think quite some time. It has not been asked by UPSC, so it will come definitely very soon. Done? All of you? Objectivity concept of aberrant bureaucracy. I don't know how that is relevant here. Done? दोबारा बोलो दोबारा.
CSO जब परेशानी बढ़ाते हैं क्वालिटी सर्विस डिलीवरी में, जैसे कि
वो नहीं, जैसे इन्होंने सेम चीज पूछी, that how technology can perhaps make citizen charter difficult. That is not a demand of the question per se. Probably challenges you can write, that why technology is not being, it has not been properly utilized to its full potential. That is what you can write.
जो डोनेशंस का this direction है, जैसे वो एक जमा दबा करके आपने एग्जांपल दिया, तो वो चीज जो है इस्तेमाल ही नहीं कर सकते इस टाइप के क्वेश्चन कि मतलब जैसे कि कैसे क्वालिटी सर्विस डिलीवरी खराब हुआ उसके वजह कैसे वाइटल रोल नहीं प्ले किया.
I don't know. Dr. Saab, what the advice that I gave you? Please repeat that advice. So you convey that advice to him. Perhaps it is stuck right here, somewhere. You convey that to him. Otherwise, he will be facing a lot of difficulty in terms of answering questions. You don't have that much space. Why are you going to that length? That how NGOs are being used as terrorist organization or something, terror financing. Is it demand of the question? Is it demand of the, that is the common sense that I expect you to have. Okay. Done? So this question was fairly simple, I think. Role of leadership in shaping the work culture. How can ethical leadership create a culture of trust, collaboration? Very, I think, important part is that how you have gone about the structuring of this answer in terms of various interventions that as a leader can do, and also the great example of TN session. So many great examples we have, bus. So that is what you need to write. This is a question that is pending. Role of EI also you can talk about. This question is fairly simple. Just talk about great case studies, great examples that you can quote here. Understood? Everyone?
This will go in one flow only without any second.
You can talk about positive case studies. What else you will write?
If we go by the role of leadership
वो पॉजिटिव ही है जो पहले भी पूछा हुआ है. वो अगला पूछ रहा है स्पेसिफिक स्टेप्स जो आप लिख सकते हैं. हाउ कैन इट कैन क्रिएट ए कल्चर ऑफ ट्रस्ट, कोलैबोरेशन, हाई परफॉर्मेंस. दे आर मोर स्पेसिफिक स्टेप. It has been made more specific. Done? I think हो गया discussion. So yes, topics were fairly easy, I think. I mean, you should be satisfied, I guess, to some extent. 100% satisfaction will never come, even after writing UPSC mains. Yes, that will also be there. But definitely you can extend it to the private sector. I don't think it has mentioned within government organization. No, it has mentioned in the first part. Second part, I mean, one or two example perhaps you can write, but it's mostly government context only. The first line it has been written within government organization. Done? So now you go home and revise. Please start going through the PYQs. One last class is remaining and I will try to give you more PYQs from this year's paper in the last 6 mini test, because tomorrow your holiday, so you go through entire thing again, revise everything, and we will have miscellaneous topic on the last day, and many of the topics you have to brainstorm only, because I want to enhance the coverage. I cannot discuss everything in that great detail, because I want to enhance the coverage also, and that is why the 6th test will have many questions, not just 8 questions. You need to write for 1 hour, and perhaps you need to think also for some time, to brainstorm only. Okay, so that is what we will do. And 6th test is on Monday only. Why it is on Tuesday? When did I say it is on Tuesday? इसके लिए छुट्टी चाहिए. अब समझ में आ गया होगा ना, फर्क नहीं पड़ता. It does not matter. Okay, so that is what you should do, and after that you will start with case studies. Okay, and while you are going through case studies, again keep on going through this answers, everything, so that the more that you are in right now, it is refined again and again and again till you not get such doubts when you are writing the questions. Okay, so it will come with practice. Don't worry. Just keep on working hard. Okay, the first quotation, go through it again. Bye bye. Take care.